Welcome everyone. This short video explains completion of the Affordable Care Act worksheet and Form 8965, the form on which we claim health insurance exemptions. As you know, everyone this year is required to have health insurance all 12 months of the year or qualify for an exemption from the health insurance requirement. I suggest that first you complete all of the tax return. The ACA worksheet, which is titled ACA Page 1 and ACA Page 2 in your tree, will be the last forms that you complete prior to the quality review. We've completed Linda Test's tax return, so now we're going to click on the ACA Page 1. And I want to first just kind of explain this worksheet to you. You'll notice the couple of questions here at the top, and then there are 3 questions here for Linda. As we scroll down, were there more people on this return, each one would have a section with their name populated in it, because these questions have to be answered for everyone on the tax return. In this particular case, Linda is a single taxpayer, so we're only going to be answering the questions for her. The first question here at the top is whether anyone on the tax return purchased health insurance through the marketplace. If they did, they should have received a Form 1095-A. Answering yes to this question indicates that advanced certification is required. The Form 8962 is beyond scope for basic certification. So if you're a basic certified and your client shows you a Form 1095-A or tells you they purchased their health insurance through the marketplace, please alert your site manager because you won't be able to complete this return. Ideally, this would be caught at intake, but as we know, clients don't always reveal all the information at that stage of the game. We're going to check no for Linda because she did not purchase insurance through the marketplace. And then next, I recommend that you start out at least always answering yes to the second question, just to see whether an exemption applies if your client did not have insurance for the full 12 months. These 3 questions here really are designed to determine whether a person had insurance or an exemption for the entire year, for part of the year, or for none of the year. And so when you click on one of the boxes, TaxWise is automatically going to populate in your tree a Form 8965. If you click on the 8965, this first section here, Part 1, is for marketplace issued exemptions. If your client has one, they're going to have a certificate from the marketplace that includes their certificate number. So you would complete their name, their social, and enter the exemption certificate number in column C. The thing I really like about on this Form 8965, here in Part 2, TaxWise automatically populates for you the filing threshold and then the household and gross income from this particular tax return. This is also why it's important to prepare the return first so that TaxWise has that information for you already. You'll see here that Linda does not qualify for an exemption either for her household income or her gross income being less than her filing threshold. And TaxWise acknowledges that for you by checking no to 7A. The hardship exemption based on gross income, she's not eligible for that one either, so we'll check no for that. All right, I'm going to go back now up to the ACA worksheet. The second button here is for is if this person had health insurance or is applying for an exemption for only part of the year. When you check that button, you'll notice these months boxes turn red. You're going to check the months boxes only for those months when there is no insurance and there's not a potential exemption. So you would go in and check the applicable months that this person had no insurance and that you've already decided is not going to be eligible for an exemption. Once again, the 8965 is added when you have checked those boxes. You would then come down to Part 3 and complete Part 3 for the exemption type that you're going to that Linda is applying for. And you put in the person's name, their social, and then the exemption type. In your Pub 4012 on page ACA 6 is a list of the exemption codes. I would note that this list, the current list, is not complete. I suspect the IRS is going to be issuing us a supplement to this page. Most notably, there is a new exemption code H, which is for persons who were born, adopted, or died during the tax year. But for now, these are the exemption codes are listed on that chart on page ACA 6. The most common you will see in the tax center are exemption code B, which is for a short coverage gap, meaning a period of less than 3 months without insurance or with no exemption. So really because it's less than 3 months, what this means is that it's 2 months. 2 months would be the maximum that a person could apply for the exemption code B. The second you will see is code C, which is for persons who are not lawfully present. More often than not, this would be the persons on the return who have an I-10. And then exemption code G, which is for residents of a state that it did not expand Medicaid and whose income is below 138% of the federal poverty level. Back to your Pub 4012, there's a chart on page ACA 13 that lists the 138% figures. This will also be in your CTC resource page, so you'll actually have 2 sources to check the 138%. Let's assume for purposes here that Linda qualifies for exemption code G. She doesn't, given her income, but just for illustrative purposes. And if she qualifies for the full year, you're going to check full year, obviously. And you're completed with the Form 8965. If she is eligible for exemptions for only a few months, let's say, for example, she has a short coverage gap, then you will check the month or 2 months for which she's eligible for that exemption. I'm going to uncheck those for right now because we're going to go back up to our ACA worksheet, and let's assume that Linda had no insurance and no exemption for any of the year, which means that she's going to owe an individual responsibility payment. Uncheck these months boxes and then go back and change your answer to the second question to no, because again she had no insurance and she's not eligible for any type of exemption. If you go to ACA page 2, This is where the shared responsibility payment is calculated. So you can eyeball this, kind of get a feel to see if it makes sense based on the facts in your tax return. The month of March right now is quirky in tax-wise. I'm sure they know about it. I'm sure they'll have this figured out by the time tax season starts. But just if you're working in the practice lab and you get this weird thing in the month of March, like here it's showing that Linda was under 18 during the month of March, which is not the case, but um, this does show a penalty, if you will, of $311 for her. That's it. Thank you so much.